to Matt Connarton Unleashed on WMNH 95.3.
Right now on WMNH 95.3 FM and Matt Connarton Unleashed, we have an exclusive world radio premiere. This isn't coming out until July 31st, but you heard it here first. The brand new single from Yon Mon, Summertime Love. I love it. That is Summertime Love by Yon Mon, and hopefully we'll get Yon Mon on the show soon, but that track officially comes out July 31st. So you heard it here first, right here on WMNH and 95.3 FM, and of course here on Matt Connarton Unleashed. And welcome to the show, everybody. We got an exciting show for you this week from the WMNH 95.3 FM studio here in glorious Manchester, New Hampshire. And of course, you can stream the show from anywhere. Go to mattconnerton.com/unleashed for your updated list of live streaming options. Hello to our friends in Australia who are tuning in, by the way. Talked about that with Charles Richardson. I was on the Charles Richardson show this week on Wednesday night. You can find that on YouTube. Just do a quick search for the Charles Richardson show. And I was on the most recent episode with him. We talked about a lot of interesting stuff, to say the least. But that was a lot of fun, and all of it, things I won't get into here. But yeah, check out the latest edition of the Charles Richardson Show. Charles Richardson, also, by the way, now one of my colleagues over at Dare Media Group on Radio X, so that's exciting. So, but yeah, we had a pretty in-depth conversation. I was on with him for the entire 2 hours. It was a lot of fun. We did do some wrestling talk at the end too, so if that is not your thing, I would caution you to maybe avoid that part of the show. But that was at the very end. Not everyone likes the wrestling. But yeah, so it's been quite a week, a very busy week. And of course, it is July 25, 2026, as we are getting toward the end of July. July is kind of my favorite month because summer is my favorite time of year, although I really like June as well, because June, you're just getting into summer, and it's like, oh, we still have the whole summer. You get toward the end of July, it's like, uh-oh. Even though we still have, there's August. But the thing about August is you get about midway through August, and you start to have those days where it'll still be really hot during the day. You might have a 90-degree day in the middle of August, but something changes at night. Like you get these wild temperature swings where it might be 90 degrees in the day, and then as soon as the sun goes down, the temperature just plummets. And all of a sudden, it doesn't feel like summer at night. And then you think, well, this is slipping away. So, but part of why that's on my mind is there's a certain individual who does a podcast, and although he's old, so he continues to use the term internet radio, even though that's become a very arcane and antiquated term. But he was talking about the other day on his show, summer's almost over. I guess he's going to take a break. He's going to take another break. He takes many, many breaks from his show, many hiatuses. But he's like, summer's almost over. Got to enjoy the last rose of summer. It's like, dude, it's not even the end of July yet. Don't say that. So, but I do so love the summer. So it was cool to be able to play Summertime Love by Yanman as we enjoy. I like anything related to my favorite time of year. Although then again, I'm not particularly a big fan of sort of like, beach music and that type of stuff. But anyway, so because I don't go to the beach, that's not what I like about summer. I don't go to the beach. I don't like to be out in the sun. I burn easily. There's a history of melanoma in my family. Plus I get bored easily. So it's not that. It's not like I don't even do anything outdoorsy. I don't do outdoorsy summer things. If you're a regular listener of the show, you've heard me talk about my paralyzing fear of deer ticks, for example. So it's not even that. That's not what I love about summer. I just love that it's hot. I like the heat. I don't like the cold. I love the heat. So needless to say, I'm not a fan of winter, but summer is my time. But we do have an exciting show. Again, it was fun to do the premiere of the new track from Yanman, and we will do that, of course, later on in the show, probably in the second hour and the third hour. We'll get that in as well. Coming up in just a few minutes, we're going to be joined via phone by Rob Weiss of the band Deardarkhead. Really looking forward to talking to Rob. In the second hour today, we have the return of Nikolai Kane, or also known as the name of his project is Nociva. I can never remember, is it Nociva or Nociva? But we will find out when Nikolai is here with us. We've got a brand new single that we're going to play, just came out, and that also will be a world radio premiere. I promise you, you have not heard this anywhere else. And then in the third hour, we have the return of Superbug, such a great band. They've got a new release. They've got a bunch of new tracks we're going to feature on the show today. Cannot wait to talk with them as well. So we've got a fun show for you today. But I think what we should do right now is we're going to go ahead and play one of these songs from Deardarkhead, and then if all goes according to plan, which sometimes it does, we will have, not always, live radio is an adventure. You just never know. But we should have Rob Weiss from the band Deardarkhead on the studio line with us. Can't wait to talk to him. I really like this project. We're going to play right now the title track from the album The Pendulum Swings. So this is called The Pendulum Swings. And again, the band is Deardarkhead. That is The Pendulum Swings. That is the title track from the album The Pendulum Swings from Deardarkhead. And Rob Weiss is going to be joining us from the band in just a moment. But while we wait, before he calls us, we're going to play one more. Yeah, let's play this track, Letting Go. This is kind of the focus track, as we say in the industry. This is really good, too. I want to sneak this in before we talk to Rob. That is Letting Go from Deardarkhead. The album is called The Pendulum Swings. Just came out July 10th, so it's very new. And let's see, we've got Rob Weiss on the phone line, I believe, with us on the studio line. Hey, Rob.
Hey there.
How you doing? Is it just you, or are any other band members with you?
No, we have Kevin Harrington here, the guitar player, as well.
Oh, awesome. Hi, Kevin.
How you doing?
Good. Welcome, guys. So I really like this. I was surprised to learn you guys have been around for a hell of a long time. So is this true that The Pendulum Swings is your first new full-length album in 25 years? Is that accurate?
Yeah, actually, yeah. I mean, we did put an EP out back in 2016 that was instrumental, but in terms of a full-length album, the last thing we did was an album called Unlock the Valves of Feeling when we had a vocalist. So it's been a while for a full-length.
Okay, I gotcha. So this album obviously is all instrumentals, correct?
Yep, correct.
Now, so you did have a vocalist at one time. So for the EP, you said. So I mean, how does that? What goes into the decision whether or not to work with a vocalist or record an album of instrumentals? And this is, by the way, it's a full-length album, but for people who haven't listened to it, who are skeptical of instrumentals, it's really good. And in listening to it, my perception is it's kind of like as you can hear with those songs, the lead guitar kind of fills that space that a vocalist might, right? But what goes into that decision to do instrumentals?
We haven't really made a decision to be instrumental. We just ended up being instrumental once our former singer left.
Yeah.
So it was basically we carry on until we find a vocalist or we stop. So we basically always wrote instrumentals even when we had the singer.
Oh.
So now we just are instrumental, and it's just because of having to move forward versus stop.
That's interesting. Is it a challenge to do it that way, or does it? Because it almost sounds like it's probably pretty organic, right? You don't, you didn't decide to approach it this way. This is just how you're doing it out of really. It sounds like out of necessity more than anything else. I mean, is that a challenge to make these songs work as instrumentals, or is it pretty simple?
Not necessarily at all anymore. This is just the way we write.
Yeah.
I will say I think it puts a little more pressure on Kevin because since there is no vocal, as you pointed out, melodically he's carrying the weight of the song and the emotion and the effects, and so he puts a lot of time and effort. So I think it would be nice to have a vocalist sometimes if we found the right person, but we don't really rely on it, and we're pretty comfortable doing it, and Kevin does a great job handling that role.
Absolutely.
As far as interaction with a live show, I think a singer would be nice because it always was great to have a dedicated singer, a dedicated person to interact with the crowd. But we're so used to doing it this way that this is really just the way we think.
Right. No, that makes sense. And and Rob, as you pointed out, Kevin, is able to really kind of carry the weight of what a vocalist does in these songs, and it just works. I'm curious live. I mean, do you approach these any differently when you play them live than versus how you recorded them? Is there a little bit extra pressure when you're doing these live, or how does that work? What's your approach live?
I mean, I don't think really we change things up too much. Occasionally there'll be a song where we did something in the studio and we've had to adapt it slightly differently live just because, we wanted to spend a little more time in the studio. We can do more or track more guitars. We might do a slightly different version of the song, but in general, it's pretty much what you hear is the way we sound live.
We may not have a rhythm guitar track live because it doesn't really, we can't do it, but
right.
We do things in a way that you really probably wouldn't even notice that it's not there.
Yeah, that's accurate.
Because we fill the space
right.
with sound.
Right. That makes sense. And, for me personally, and some people will disagree with me on this, and I know that to a lot of people it's very important that when they go to see a band live that they hear things as close as possible to what they did in the studio. And I've always looked at that a little bit differently. If I go to see a band live and there's something different because, as you guys pointed out, maybe there's not that rhythm guitar track there because you can't do that live, unless you were to bring in an extra guitarist, right? If that means that it sounds a little bit different, and maybe live it sounds a little bit raw, it sounds a little bit, I don't know exactly the term I'm looking for, but I think you get what I'm saying. If it changes a little bit live, that's actually, to me, that's a good thing. I find that interesting. I know not everyone looks at it that way, but that's how I've always looked at it.
Yeah, I get that. I think in the past we've kind of just performed things as we did things on the record, and I think we've loosened up a little bit more and kind of try to find different ways of doing things. When you're instrumental, you have to find new ways of sort of entertaining yourself and making the songs very accessible, even though there's no vocal. So we spent a lot of time doing that, and I think we've been really happy so far with the reviews we've been getting back. It seems like people really are getting it as an instrumental record and not feeling like not having vocals is a detriment.
Right. When the singer left, was it like, did you guys kind of make some, I guess I'm wondering, because it sounds like it was just a very organic thing. Okay, we're going to do this live until we find a singer. I mean, we're going to do this instrumental until we find a singer. If we don't find a singer, we'll just keep doing what we're doing. Was that your initial reaction to when the singer departed, or was there ever a moment where you guys kind of talked about it and said, well, we have to find a singer because if we don't, we can't continue. And then maybe your mindset shifted. I don't know. I mean, what was your initial thought when the singer left?
I think we just expected to find a singer, but then once we started auditioning a few people, we just realized how hard it was going to be to find someone that was the right fit.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually we realized that, well, we're not finding the right fit, but at this point, like I said, we've always done an instrumental or two on our previous work prior to Mike leaving.
Yeah.
But we're really accustomed to just playing, what we played, whether it's a song with vocals or not.
Right.
And the more time that passed, we just really got used to it, and we started writing around it, and here we are now.
Yeah.
Many years later.
Yeah, I think also Mike, we were really accustomed. Mike had been in the band for a very long time, and he sang, and he also played guitar, and he also played bass, and he was just a really great composer. And he'd been with us a long time, so it was kind of a hard act to follow. We just, like Kevin said, we thought we'd find somebody. We just were disappointed with anybody that we actually, auditioned. And we didn't sort of want to ruin our legacy of what we'd done with the vocalists in the past. So going instrumental felt kind of like organic, yeah.
Okay.
And I think having another input, maybe not that it would jeopardize what we were used to, but when Mike was with the band, the three of us were all songwriters that contributed relatively equally. So then Rob and I took over, and we maybe were a little reluctant to add a third party in that didn't share the same direction. For reasons of control, it's sort of, I was always pleased that we maintained just the two of us without an outside source that really didn't follow the same vision.
Yeah, that's always the hard part when you have to replace somebody or try to replace somebody. There's always that worry. Well, what if we bring somebody in? And what if they seem like they fit in the beginning, but then it turns out the chemistry isn't there? They don't quite fit, as you referred to, fit the vision of what you're doing. That can be very challenging. And so for you guys to be able to make this work as well as you do, and it works really well, without even having to necessarily worry about having a singer. I mean, that's excellent. And I think it says a lot about what you're doing and what the chemistry is that you guys have. Obviously, you guys have incredible chemistry together to be able to pull this off. I'm curious about the title, The Pendulum Swings, if that has anything to do with kind of the history of the band, or maybe I'm reading too much into it. And I also noticed, too, that it closes the album, which is unusual. A lot of times the title track from an album will be the opener, but in this case, it's the closer. But tell me about that, and tell me about why you chose the title, The Pendulum Swings.
It was really the title of the song because it just felt like something relevant to time when I was writing it.
Yeah.
And Rob liked it for a closer.
Yeah, Kevin's good at, he often is very good at openers or closers.
Yeah. Well, it matters. I mean, that's, the way you sequence the album, and that's something people don't necessarily think about, but if you, it matters a lot, because you're trying to,
Definitely.
With an album, you're sort of trying to tell a story, even if you don't necessarily think of it that way. There has to be, in order for the album to be cohesive, there has to be a certain flow to how the songs are ordered. So that matters a lot. But yeah, I do think it's the perfect closer for the album. I did listen to the whole thing, and I really like it. I'm also, I'm curious about some of these songs. Are these all relatively new, or because you guys have been around for so long, are any of these songs that maybe go back to an earlier period of time, or did any of them maybe even you had recorded before with a vocalist and now we're getting an instrumental version of them? I'm curious about the actual songs that are on the album.
Yeah, so it's got a range of stuff. For instance, Tears, that was a track we were doing when Mike was in the band. So that was an instrumental.
Okay.
And also Sad Songs and Better Days. That one actually had vocals and was one of the last songs we did with Mike vocally as a new song at that time period. And then there's a lot of new songs on the record, too, like The Pendulum Swings and Black Pearls and In Another Life, Letting Go. They're all relatively new songs.
It's really a split. 5 relatively older, they're reaching back, and 5 relatively new ones, as to much more new ones, or brand new.
Yeah.
we did the last 3 songs on the record after we recorded the first 7.
Okay.
We just wanted to round it out and spend a little bit more time, so those were brand new.
Okay. I'm also curious about this. So you recorded at Minor Street Recordings in Philadelphia, is that correct?
That's right.
And you worked with, this says Brian McTerr, I hope I'm saying the name correctly, and Amy Morrissey. And I'm really interested because, again, certain genres of bands, they're everywhere, but there's not a lot of instrumental bands that do what you do, truly instrumental in terms of this album. What went into deciding to work with them and them deciding to work with you? Because I would imagine, because this project is unique, because it is all instrumentals, that probably wasn't, it's not like you were throwing darts at a board in terms of who you wanted to produce the album, right? Yeah, I'm sure a lot went into this decision to record at Minor Street Recordings, but tell me about that and how you came to work with Brian and Amy.
So actually, this is the second time we've worked with them.
Oh.
We did an EP called Strange Weather, and we recorded that there at Minor Street, although they weren't behind the deck. There was another gentleman there named Jonathan Lowe who was working out of the studio, but we did record in the studio for those 6 songs.
Okay.
So it's we really are pleased with the way that EP came out, so it was just a no-brainer to go back there again. But this time, Amy and Brian were, engineering everything. They're the owners of the studio, and we had our record release party last week in Atlantic City, and their band Bitter Bitter Weeks came and played with us, so it was a really great night. But they've done a lot of really great artists in Philly, like people like War on Drugs, Dead Milkmen, Kurt Vile. They're just one of the best studios in Philly and in the Fishtown area, and kind of like we're just very comfortable there, and it's like home.
Excellent. Yeah. So it was, obviously everyone was happy to work together. That's that's good. Do you think that, I don't know how far ahead you're thinking. I understand this album is very new. It just came out July 10th, but are you thinking of going back there in the future to work on the next one? It sounds like you guys are always writing, so I assume there's going to be more recording in the future.
We have a handful of new things, and
it's time to start working on new stuff. We've been well acquainted with these throughout the recording process and playing them live.
Yeah.
And so I'm really ready to start working on some new stuff, of course, to push this as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd like to, ideally, I'd like to get in there sooner than later and maybe do like a 4-song EP just to, rather than try to get a whole new album out and, get something out quickly on the tail of this, because while we're riding, the press wave of this and, keep the momentum going.
Right. No, that makes sense. So I have not asked you the obvious question yet. I try not to open the interview with the obvious question. But what does the name mean, Deardarkhead? And I should say, too, for people who don't know, it's one word. It's stylized as one word. But what does that mean, Deardarkhead?
Yeah, so when we started the band in 1988, we used to rehearse at my house, and at the time, nobody could decide on a name. So I went through all the books. I had this giant bookshelf behind my drum kit, and I went through all the books, and I literally wrote down like 200 names. And I would just run through the names, and, I just looked through the books and out of context, anything that caught my eye, whether it was a book on architecture or airplanes or the encyclopedia or poetry, I would write down anything that caught my eye. And so I'd read through the list, and everybody's like, no. And I got to Deardarkhead, and everybody raised their hand. I'm like, okay, that's it. That's the name. We all agree.
Yeah.
I was the only name that we all liked. And it's just an Irish poem from, like, the 1800s. And it's just like a love poem about a woman with, like, a beautiful woman with dark hair.
Okay.
But we kind of liked it out of context. And we wanted something that wouldn't be like a name that anybody else would come up with, and it actually kind of worked in our benefit because later on when the internet came about, if you Google it, the only 2 things that come up are that poem and us, so it makes it easiest for us to be found.
You were ahead of your time in that sense. That's great. Yeah,
we prefigured the internet.
That's awesome. No, that's great. Also, I'm curious to ask you about Fertile Crescent Records, because this is a label that you guys run, correct? This is your label?
Yeah, it's just for us to put our own things out. I mean,
Yeah.
the last EP came out on a small label in Texas called St. Marie Records that kind of focuses on shoegaze music, but they kind of morphed into a brick-and-mortar mail order record store, so they stopped putting out records.
Okay.
So we just decided, we shopped it around, and, let's be honest, when you've been in a band for 38 years and you're an instrumental shoegaze band, it's a tough sell. And the music industry isn't as strong as it used to be. So we didn't really get any bites, so we put it out ourselves, and we're very happy with the way it came out.
Absolutely. That's excellent. Yeah. And, of course, because it's your own label, it gives you, total control over everything. That's excellent. And this is the album too. Obviously, it's available digitally. It's on Bandcamp, and I love Bandcamp. I encourage everyone to support Bandcamp, and it's very artist friendly and so forth. On CD, and you've also released this on vinyl, correct?
Yeah, just a short run, 180 gram black vinyl. If we sell out, we'll do another run of it.
Yeah.
There's definitely we definitely sold more copies of that than we did on the CD at the record release. So there's definitely an appetite for vinyl out there.
Absolutely. Well, my theory is too, I think a lot of people who purchase vinyl never actually play it. I think that a lot of people purchase vinyl because if you're a fan, so if you're a big fan of Deardarkhead, it's cool to, even if you don't have a record player at home, it's cool to just have it, and I've seen people, they'll mount the album covers on the wall or something, whether the actual record is left in it or not. But yeah, vinyl is the resurgence of vinyl, and of course it never actually went away, which is something people don't realize. But the incredible resurgence of it, that's happened in the last several years is amazing. And digital and physical media in general too. CDs. People are still releasing CDs. A lot of people thought those would be gone by now, by 2026, but now CDs are still being released. And I mean, is it important to you guys to have that physical media? I mean, obviously vinyl, nothing sounds better than vinyl, but is that something that's important to you guys? And was there ever a point, because again, you guys have been around a while, was there ever a point where you guys said, yeah, we're just going to release things digitally for right now? Because that seems to be, because if we were having this conversation 10 years ago, that seemed to be where everything was going. And, it turned out, again, physical media is still very important. But has that always been important to you guys? Or was there ever a point over your career where you thought, maybe we will just release things digitally?
I'd say that we've always put out physical media. I think it's important to have physical media. I think one of the biggest issues is, like, if you're the Beatles, nobody worries about that record disappearing, like, digitally or physically. But if you're a smaller band, like, how many times have you gone to Spotify or any streaming site and something you were listening to is no longer on there?
Right.
So if you don't have a physical copy of it, it disappears. So I would encourage people, if you like something from a band that's maybe not as, big as the Beatles, you might want to purchase the record. And it's just nice to have a physical, keepsake of that, whether you went to a show or I worked in a record store, so I'm a little biased, and so
Same.
I'm a bit of a record junkie. So yeah, I'm a little biased, but we've always done physical media, and I think you see people like to support bands when they go to the show, and I just think that's the way to go. Digital's nice, but it's just kind of empty. People, I think, want tangible experiences.
Oh, yeah. When I was growing up, I always loved looking at, especially if I was a really big fan of an artist, looking at liner notes, and, I would geek out on all that stuff. And I was so happy if I opened something up and the lyrics were actually printed in there. I was in heaven. So, yeah, I absolutely get that. By the way, so you brought up a really interesting point, too. As many conversations as I've had about this very subject on the show, something no one's ever brought up before, but it's a fantastic point. If you are depending only on digital media, you're right. Something that's on Spotify today, for whatever reason, might not be there tomorrow. Maybe the artist or the label or somebody decides to pull it off of Spotify for some reason, or, something happens that causes it to disappear. And if that's where you were depending on, if that's the platform you were depending on to get that particular release, and now it's gone and you don't have a physical copy of it, well, now you got to go digging. Maybe it's on YouTube, maybe it's not, So that's a really great point that you brought up. And so the one thing you can depend on if you have a physical copy of something is that you have it and it's never going anywhere and no one can take it away from you.
Absolutely. Your friends might steal our records, but maybe they weren't friends anyway.
Exactly. So
It just proves that they were friends with better musical taste than you thought.
Well, there you go. Glass half full.
Steal this record, yes.
Yep.
And hang it on your wall because they make great artwork, just like you said earlier.
So, circling back just quickly to the live aspect, are you guys playing a lot of shows? I would imagine you're doing shows to support the album, but what's that like? What's your touring schedule like right now?
We just finished this record release party. We don't really have anything lined up at the moment. We're kind of taking a little time to regroup, work on some new material, and then book a bunch more shows. So, we kind of do what we can. It's not we don't do this as a full-time thing. It's more of a lifestyle, and we've been at it for a long time. So longevity is sort of our goal for success and being able to do what we want. So we try to play when we can fit it around our schedules and whatnot, but we do spend a lot of time on it, and we try to do it to the best level that we can do and get it out to as many people as we can. We'd love to play anywhere.
Absolutely. Excellent. In a moment, we're going to play another track from the album at the end of our conversation, but before we start to wrap up, and by the way, I want to thank both of you very much for joining us today. This has been a wonderful conversation. Rob Weiss and Kevin Harrington, of course, from the band Deardarkhead. But let me ask you this. Where is the best place? Well, as we discussed, it's very easy to Google you, but where's the best place for people to go online to keep up with everything that Deardarkhead is doing?
So Deardarkhead.com. If you go there, you can get to all our social media and streaming platforms. Pretty much that's the main place to get our stuff. But we're on all the, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, whatever. But if you go to our website, Deardarkhead.com, it has all the latest news and links to other places.
Outstanding. Well, okay, so one more question, guys. I'm going to kind of put you on the spot here. What song, I'm going to let you pick. I did open today with I played The Pendulum Swings and I played Letting Go. I was able to sneak in two. What song should I play at the end of our conversation from the album? I'll let you guys pick. Told you I was going to put you on the spot.
Tough one. We like them all.
I know, right?
Like the children.
Like exactly.
How about Sad Songs and Better Days?
Sad Songs and Better Days. Let's see. Let me just make sure. Yep, there it is. Boom. All right. Any particular reason for does this song, anything we should know about it? Any particular meaning that we should know about and why you chose this song?
I like this one because of the energy. It always has a great live presentation.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah, it's just got good energy to it.
Perfect.
Yeah, this one was, as I said, this one used to have vocals. It was like the last song we did vocally with our old singer.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Gotcha. Okay. Well, so we will close our conversation with that. We're going to hit that track, Sad Songs and Better Days. But again, Rob and Kevin, guys, thank you so much. It sounds like you've got a lot of good stuff coming up. So we will definitely do this in the future again. And congratulations on the album. And I'm sure we'll talk again soon.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having us. We really appreciate it.
All right. Anytime, guys. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
All right, that was Rob Weiss and Kevin Harrington from the band Deardarkhead. And let's give this a spin. This is from the new album. And again, it just came out July 10th. Very new. This is called Sad Songs and Better Days. That is Sad Songs and Better Days. The band is Deardarkhead. New album, The Pendulum Swings, just came out on July 10. Thank you again to Rob Weiss and Kevin Harrington from the band Deardarkhead. Really enjoyed talking with them. And I think we're going to sneak in one more track from the new album in just a moment. But again, check it out. The full album, it is up on Bandcamp if you want to get it digitally. And as I referred to, too, during our conversation, I love Bandcamp. It's very artist-friendly, so I'm a big proponent of Bandcamp. And what a lot of people don't know, and if you're a regular listener, you've heard me say this before, but with Bandcamp, if you get the tracks from there, you actually get a higher quality file than you'd get if, say, you're just streaming the music on YouTube or whatever it may be. So I recommend Bandcamp. I like it a lot. If you are listening live, of course, today is Saturday, July 25, 2026. Coming up in the second hour, Nikolai Kane from the Project Nociva, or Nociva. I got to get a refresher from him on how to say it. He's going to be with us in studio, and we're going to do a world radio premiere for his brand new single. Cannot wait to talk to him. And then in the third hour, we have the return of Superbug. They've got some new songs as well. Really looking forward. I cannot wait to see those guys. So we've got a fun show for you today. By the way, I don't know if he's listening, but Rob from Verizon at the Mall of New Hampshire here in Manchester, thank you for helping me out yesterday. I got a brand new phone. And I had an incident. I was at the mall, and it's a good thing I was where there happened to be a Verizon store, because my phone, I had a Samsung, what was it, Galaxy S21 something? I don't know. I'd had it for a long time, probably too long, and it just stopped. It just stopped working. It blue screened, or whatever the cell phone, whatever the Android equivalent is to a blue screen. It just did some weird thing on the screen and then just turned itself off, even though it had plenty of battery. And then I turned it back on. So I got the phone restarted, and it seemed to be fine for maybe 5 minutes. And I was like, oh, that was just a weird, flukish, freaky thing. And then it did it again, and it wouldn't stay on. And so they hooked me up. They couldn't fix it, and it wasn't worth fixing anyway. The phone had to be 5 years old. Maybe not that long, maybe 4 years, but it was an old phone. So I got a brand new phone. And again, thank you to Rob at Verizon. They are not a sponsor of the show. They're not a sponsor of the station at all. You know, no one's giving me money to say that. But the service that I got there was excellent, and I really, really appreciate it. And they were able to help me out. So again, that's the Verizon store at the not at the Steeplegate Mall. That's from when I lived in Concord, at the Mall of New Hampshire here in Manchester, New Hampshire. So I recommend going there. On that note, let's play one more. Yeah, let's sneak this in. Coming Undone. We're going to sneak in one more track from Deardarkhead, because I really like these guys a lot. After that, we're going to show some love to our amazing sponsors here at WMNH 95.3 FM. And then when we come back in the second hour, Numero Dos, Nikolai Kane will be here with us. So again, this is called Coming Undone. This is from the new album. Just came out July 10 from Deardarkhead, called The Pendulum Swings.
The Alzheimer's Foundation of America is holding a free educational conference on September 16th as part of its Educating Across America tour to provide New Hampshire residents with information about brain health, caregiving, early detection, support services, and more. It will take place at the Bedford Event Center. Learn more or register for the free Alzheimer's educational program by visiting alzfdn.org.
Nana's Kitchen and Pizzeria.
From Nana's hands to your plate, tradition, love, and taste that's great. Slow fermented dough, flavor so true. Each bite a story made just for you.
603-232-9366. Nana's Kitchen and Pizzeria, 15 Dartmouth Drive, Auburn, New Hampshire.
Nana's Kitchen and Pizzeria.
Luigi's Pizza Bar and Grill.
Pizza for everyone. Let's raise a slice on high with toppings all around. It's a pizza party, oh my.
Luigi's Pizza Bar and Grill, 712 Valley Street, Manchester. Come on in or call 622-1021. Luigi, keeping the tradition alive since 1975.
Pizza for everyone. Come join the feast tonight. With each slice and topping, everything feels so right.
In times of crisis, you need a law firm that stands by your side. With over 40 years of experience, Craig & Getsoulis is dedicated to fighting for your rights. As former state prosecutors, our attorneys have the knowledge and trial experience to provide an aggressive defense against any charge, from DUIs to homicides. If you've been injured, our compassionate team will assess your case and fight for the compensation you deserve. Serving all of New Hampshire, Craig & Getsoulis is here when you need us most. Visit CraigGetsoulis.com for a free consultation. Craig & Getsoulis, your advocates, your allies.
Bring your kitchen to life with Queen City Cabinetry. Located at 87 Elm Street in the historic Sunbeam Mall in Manchester. Open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. and Saturdays, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. They can be reached at 603-222-2007 or on the web at QueenCityCabinetryNH.com. Come see the possibilities. Queen City Cabinetry, another proud sponsor of WMNH.
Hey everyone, this is Rob Azevedo, host of Granite State of Mind, and I want to tell you about Pembroke City Limits in the historic Suncook Village. PCL is an award-winning bar, restaurant, and music venue where there's live music 5 days a week and twice on Saturdays. Everything from blues, country, folk, funk, and a whole lot of jazz. We have 12 craft beers on tap dedicated to local brewers in the area and some of the friendliest bartenders around. Please come visit Pembroke City Limits at 134 Main Street, the historic Suncook Village, only 6 miles outside of Manchester. Open Tuesdays to Wednesdays, 4 to 10, Thursdays to Sunday, 11 to 10. Pembroke City Limits, where it's all about the music.
Diz's Cafe is the place to put a smile on your face. Judy and the crew will take care of you. Bring your appetite and treat your taste buds right. Diz's Cafe is always a winning choice. Breakfast, lunch, or supper. Diz's Cafe at 860 Elm Street in downtown Manchester. Dine in, take out, or make a reservation. Call 603-606-2532. Eat, drink, and be happy. Diz's Cafe.
When it comes to keeping WMNH on the air and your own personal or business computer needs, trust Groland Computers. Located on Elm Street in Manchester, Groland handles computer repair, virus removal, and custom-built systems. Are you looking for budget-friendly options? Check out our selection of fully inspected used computers. We offer tailored on-site solutions. No unnecessary expenses here. Visit Groland.com or call Groland Computers at 603-645-0101. Your tech, your way. Trust Groland Computers.
Midnight. 7 times out of 10, we listen to our music at night. Thus spawned the title of this program.
Late Night Delight with DJ Midas, right here on WMNH Manchester.
You want to know why? Because I'm on
Saturdays and Sunday nights, midnight to 4 a.m.
This hour on WMNH is sponsored by CGI Business Solutions, located at 5 Dartmouth Drive in Auburn. They serve all your business needs, including employee benefits planning, corporate design and business administration, investments and wealth management, and customized business insurance solutions. Their phone number is 866-841-4600 or on the web at cgibusinesssolutions.com.
Behold the harmony of airwaves as you immerse yourself in the captivating frequencies of WMNH-LP, the sonic heartbeat of Manchester, transcending through the ether at 95.3 megahertz frequency modulation. Our transmissions emanate from the zenith of 1000 Elm Street. Venture into the heart of our creative realm at 119 Canal Street, where innovation and sound collide. We bear the imprimatur of Manchester Public Television Service in the venerable city of Manchester, New Hampshire, USA. Enrich your auditory journey with the depth of our licensed resonance. Dispatch your missives to WMNH953@gmail.com or traverse the virtual corridors of WMNHradio.org. Engage with our sonic vibrations by communing with us through the digital channels. Your radio beckons, eager to enthrall you with its mesmerizing cadence and envelop you in a symphony of boundless auditory wonder.